St. John Chrysostom most probably was born in the year 349 in the metropolitan city of Antioch of Syria. His mother was a devout Christian, of pure Greek descent. Her name was Anthusa, and his father was a Roman general, someone of high rank in the Roman army, and his name was Secundus.
When he was young, his father passed away. His mother never remarried, and she had him educated actually in the Greek language, in which reality that was the only language that he really learned after that, after his father's death.
Well, Anthusa never remarried after her husband died. Her focus was on educating John, and that's where her energies went.
My mother was a single mother, and from a little boy I always realized how difficult it was for her to bring up my sister and I in a Christian manner, in a loving household, with the father not there 100% of the time. I realized this was also as difficult for Anthusa to bring up a young man of the stature of St. John Chrysostom in this same type of household and loving manner.
At 18 years of age, Chrysostom was baptized a Christian. And also at the time he was completing his rhetorical studies, his oratory skills, under Libanius, the great pagan philosopher.
When one of these scholars were dying, his pupils were around him and they asked him, who will be your successor? They wanted to know who was going to take over for him. And he said, John, if the Christians haven't stolen him yet.
Well, studying in the best of non-Christian educational centers of the time, St. John Chrysostom really was able to perfect his way to articulate things. Of course, he studied law, so he was a lawyer, but that helped in his thought processes in deducing logic and reality.
And from his sermons, you will see that the experiences that he had received in the courtroom, how he was impregnated with the human condition and how he understood in the hearts and the minds of the people how they ticked, how they worked. And he knew how to apply the scriptures, which he called the best medicine that could be applied to any wound.
John decided to trade in his lawyer robes and his law books for a cassock and a Bible, and he entered the theological school of Antioch.
After his education, he was convinced of the truth of the Christian faith, and he became a monk, and he withdrew into a monastic setting.
Before St. John Chrysostom embraced the monastic life, his mother came to him pleading to him with tears, saying, "Do not make me a widow for the second time." And St. John Chrysostom understood and loved his mother and said that he would not leave for the monastery or the monastic life before the death of his mother. During the 3-year period before the passing of his mother, St. John Chrysostom took this opportunity to read the scriptures, study them thoroughly, and prepare himself for his future monastic life. At this point, Anthusa passes away, and St. John Chrysostom sells all of his earthly belongings to the poor and embraces the monastic tradition.
He went to the mountains and he escaped in order to be able to study the way he really wanted to study, without any distractions, without the world telling him what direction to go in or how to use his talents. He looked inward, and what he found inward was a tremendous yearning and a thirst to learn about Scripture.
He lived a very severe life of monasticism, and eventually he had to give it up because in the mountains he developed a very serious condition with his kidneys and they were failing.
When St.